on to this week's edition of the Focus TV. Season 7, Episode 6. We got Octavia Wire here, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr. As you guys can see, Cardell is checking in with us live from the Smith Center. George Washington men's basketball is at it again tonight. They're hosting Bowie State. I'm sure the half's just about to end. So, Cardell, what's going on at the Smith Center?
Yeah, the second half just started. GW is up 46-28. And it's a very simple deal. GW's locking Bowie State up. Bowie State literally can't score. And 10 of their points that came off of turnovers, fast break points. If you take that away, Bowie State has only scored 18 points in the half court. That just tells you how just devastating that GW's defense has been, how much they've been swarming them. Their size, their athleticism, their length, they are bothering Bowie State in a lot of ways. Where Bowie State can really only hit either wide open threes or if it's a play breakdown here and there underneath the basket and they get a clean layup. Other than that, it's tough. It's tough right now, but you know what I'm saying? They're struggling. So they got to figure something out, man. I mean, Bowie State bigs and missing layups. Outside the wide open layups, whenever they're contesting, they're missing layups. They can't hit a mid-range. They can't even get a mid-range jumper off. Like it's been impressive what GW has done at the half-court defense, man. The only thing that's killing them is the turnovers, man. They had 10 in the first half, and Bowie State capitalized on it. And for a while, it kept it close. But late in the first half, they tore it away on a 14-3 run. It literally held Bowie State scoreless for almost 6 minutes, and that gave them the picture that they needed. In the first half, Bowie State shot 35% from the field. GW was at 57%. Like, it's literally the only thing keeping the game close is GW's turnovers. Had they not turned the ball over, they'd have been probably around 30. It's just that simple.
It seems like they learned their lesson from last week in terms of coming out and handling their business, especially on a defensive end. Your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, they usually get after it defensively. Offensively, they can get a little sloppy at times, as you can see with the turnovers. They can take some ill-advised shots. When it's ill-advised, all you got to do is look on the sidelines. The computer you got to walk down the sideline, talking to himself, trying to calm down. Other than that, when they're under control, and they're playing within the system, they're not beating themselves. It's the reason why they're 8-2 right now.
Seems like they should be able to handle business as they move. They should be moving on to the 9th win. Everyone, don't forget to get over to Focus TV and obviously follow Cardell Finest Magazine. Has updates throughout the rest of tonight's game. Anything else you wanted to add, Cardell?
No, sir, man. I'll have a recap after the game.
Appreciate you checking in. Move on to Maryland Women's. They've been busy.
Hold on.
What?
You all right, Octavia? I'll let y'all.
Yeah, I'm here. Honestly, I'm better than I thought I would be. So I'll say that.
I hear you. I'm going to let you away and settle that. Man, y'all take care. I'm all over y'all.
All right,
Nothing to settle. I lose in this. There's no settling anything. I lost.
Oh, my God. All right, so sticking with college basketball, at least for the moment. Maryland women have been busy since the last time we've spoken. Oh, man. Y'all are hilarious. I knew that was going to come up at some point. Again, Octavia, it wasn't me. Maryland's last week, you guys see what's on the screen. This was last, I want to say Sunday. They took on Northwestern to open Big Ten play. They would win 71-58. This win also made program history with it being the 600th home win. 306 of them came at Xfinity, 294 of them from the days of Cole Fieldhouse. Nonetheless, big ups to Maryland, 600 home wins. They reached with this one. It was a back-and-forth affair in the first half. Maryland seized control of this one in the third quarter, winning the period 20-6. They used a 12-2 run in the period to do so, and they wouldn't relinquish the lead from there. The defense had a lot to do with that as they held Northwestern. You just 36% shooting from the field. Ali Kubek led the way with 17 points, while Cheyenne Sellers had 13 points and 10 assists, so another double-double for Shy. Jakeer Brown-Turner was the third Terp in double figures with 13 points and 7 rebounds. Earlier today, this is Tuesday, December 12th, at the moment in which we are taping this week's episode, Maryland took on Towson in their annual field trip day game. That is very much similar to the Mystics' camp day game. What it involves is a lot of young people in an arena early, amped up, screaming and yelling to the top of their lungs for the duration of the game. That said, I'm sure the kids enjoyed themselves. Maryland beat Towson 99-51 to get their 8th win of the season, extend their current win streak to 6. 4 Terrapins scored in double figures. Bree McDaniel led the way with 19 points and 6 assists. She also scored the game's first 9 points. Ali Kubek had 17. Brene Alexander finished with 11 points, and Riley Nelson added 10 points. Up next, Maryland will face James Madison at home on December 20th. As we get closer and closer to where, we're a couple weeks away from, as soon as we hit the new year, it's all conference play. Nothing less. All conference play, no more non-conference. And then as soon as conference play wraps up, you see if they've done enough work to make the dance. It's that simple. But again, they get more positive steps in the right direction for Maryland. This group is still trying to find out who the best version of themselves with this group is going to be. They're still working their way there. I don't think they're there yet. I do think they're getting a little bit more consistent on the defensive end, which is a great thing. And they're starting to find their way. Again, you're starting to see some familiar names every time that I check in with you guys in terms of folks being more consistent. And that's what it's going to come down to, right? So, again, their next game is December 20th at home at the Xfinity Center. We're going to take a quick break. Oh, actually, we're not going to take a quick break because I have updates for you guys. I told you guys when DC United does stuff, we will update you. So on December 8th, the Black and Red announced that they would be hiring Caleb Shreve as the new assistant general manager. He spent the past 2 seasons as Orlando City's SC's head of analytics. Sorry, a lot of words. Struggling right now. In his role at DC United, he'll work directly on player recruitment and analysis. They also hired Clarence Sheridan as the club's director of player personnel. Sheridan is a little bit more familiar to the team, of course. He's formerly the assistant general manager of Loudoun United FC, which DC United pretty much owns. Earlier today, DC United announced 2 trades. They received midfielder Jared Stroud and defender Lucas Bartlett, in addition to $300,000 in general allocation money from St. Louis City SC, a new MLS team, in exchange for homegrown midfielder Chris Durkin. So sad to see Chris Durkin go. And obviously you see the 2 gentlemen I just mentioned, along with Ali McKay. They're not wasting any time. The MLS transfer window, the winter window just opened, and that was the first of 2 trades just that quick. The second trade involved Aaron Herrera from CF Montreal in exchange for $1 and $500K in GAM. So DC United moving some people around, moving some cash around as we begin to see where they try to go putting this roster together for this under this new regime. So very interested to see how this goes. But again, we'll continue to provide updates for you guys as DC United navigates their way through the MLS offseason. Now we will be taking our first break, and when we get back, we're going to check in with Ray and see what's happening with the Washington Wizards. You're watching the Focus TV. We will return shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV as promised. Ray, we're going to get straight to it, man. The Washington Wizards. I don't have a nice way to segue into this at all. So I'm going to put the clip on. Your mic's live. It's all you.
Oh, yeah. It's nothing nice to say about it. Last night was the lowest point in a season of lows thus far, which is saying a lot considering how the season has been. But yeah, that they got to start resembling a professional basketball team at some point. But yeah, that was terrible, man. It was Philly was just out there doing whatever. We seen how that looks with Gaff. I'm guessing we saw how it looked without him last night. So it just went from bad to worse. But I don't have many words either. Yeah, they're 3-19. I think that says enough. So yeah, man, this is like I started off. This is just utterly embarrassing at this point. I don't know what's on the table to rectify this. If I'm West, I'm just playing the young guys 35 minutes a game. Can't get any worse. And at least at that point, you have an excuse. But right now, yeah, these guys are terrible. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get into this in rapid fire. But you know, some news has come out about the team and relocation. But yeah, they they need to relocate some bodies or do something because yeah, this is it's painful to watch. Like they did absolutely nothing right last night. Yeah, man, I just couldn't process what I was watching at the time. Like no defensive intensity, just bumbling around on offense. I don't know, man. I'm willing to I'm willing to take any suggestions on what can happen to make them right the ship. But yeah, at this point, it is what it is, and you know, if they want to take us through 60 more games of this, then so be it. But yeah, it's at the point now where it's getting comical. So yeah, hopefully they got 2 more chances to get some redemption this week. They got the Pelicans and I can't remember the other game, but they play on Wednesday and Friday, both at home. So you know, hopefully they'll get some energy from the home crowd. But yeah, we know how that goes. It's typically a home away game for them because the crowd is generally split. So yeah, man, you're 2023-2024 Washington Wizards.
Yeah, they got the Pacers after the Pelicans.
That's what it is.
Yeah, not to be the bearer of bad news or anything, but yes, they have the Pacers following up that game with the Pelicans. Yeah, look, you're right. We're going to touch on the related topic with the Washington Wizards, Capitals, and Monumental Sports and whatnot a little bit later. Yeah, I don't have any. Look, we talk about it ad nauseum on Wizards Outlook. It has been a struggle to talk about them through 20 plus games thus far. It is an 82 game season. So I don't have anything to add to what you just shared, right? We're gonna stand on that. And we have to talk about them Wednesday night. So for those of you that tune in religiously to Wizards Outlook, we will see y'all then. We're gonna take our second break when we get back. I tell you, we're gonna talk about the NFC East. You know, the time has come. I hope you appreciate me pushing it further and further back in the show. That's the only thing I can do. You know,
gave me time for a wardrobe change.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't even done that all this year, but that's okay. Or maybe I did it once. I don't remember. But it's warranted, so I can't even be mad.
We're gonna take a break when we get back. Gonna jump into Ray, that's outstanding. We're gonna jump into NFC East segment, man. You're watching the Focus TV. We will return shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. All right, Octavia, the floor is yours. We'll just get straight to it. NFC East segment.
Yeah, so I'll save the best for last. So when I say best, I don't mean my team. I'm not saying that. Just that game just happens to be the best game. Yeah, so we'll start with the surprise of the week. I guess one of the surprises. I don't know. The New York Giants played Monday night. You know how much I talked about them having these Monday night games, but they actually gave us a good Monday night game. They played against the Green Bay Packers. They defeated the Packers 24-22 Tommy DeVito was 17 of 21, 158 yards, 1 touchdown, 10 carries for 71 yards, and 0 sacks. I don't think that's happened for them this entire year. So kudos to their offensive line, or maybe the Green Bay Packers defense needs to figure some things out. Saquon Barkley had 20 carries for 86 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 receptions for 15 yards. And Isaiah Hodgins had 2 receptions for 22 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, the big story, of course, is Tommy DeVito, hometown boy, honestly, what he's proven is I don't know why y'all paid Daniel Jones all that money. I'm going to just say that because here's good old Tommy boy back here probably getting pennies on the dollar, and he looks better than what Daniel Jones looked like in the beginning of the year. Now, granted, I know, as the year goes on, you think players get better, the offensive line has gotten better, but still, you just paid Daniel Jones $40 million, and I don't think I saw most of this the entire season. So he's now added a last-second winning drive to his resume. He went 4 for 4 for 53 yards in the final drive. Definitely giving them a lip. Who would have thought that we would have talked about the Giants, who started the season 2-8, possibly just now peeking in on the outside of the wild card race? Crazy. Kudos to them. If you want to take something away from this game on the negative, the special team didn't have a great game. They had a missed field goal, a muff punt, and a misplayed kickoff at the end of the first half. So just something that definitely, all 3 phases of the game have to be on. Sometimes you can get away with wins, with one of them being off, as they were able to in this game. And it's really because their defense has been playing so well. Their defense is probably, outside of Tommy DeVito, kind of, holding it together. He hasn't had gaudy numbers. Like I said, he was 17 of 21, 158 yards. He had 10 carries for 71 yards. But their defense is really has been keeping them competitive in these last couple of games. Over the last 3 weeks, they've had 12 takeaways, which leads the league during that period. After not having a single takeaway from weeks 1 through 4, they've created 22 takeaways since. So definitely their defense with Wink Martindale is starting to kind of gel and have their way. Kayvon Thibodeau is having a great season after a slow start as well. He now has 11.5 sacks on the season after adding another half sack on Monday night while forcing a fumble on quarterback Jordan Love. Aziz Ajal, I can never say his last name. Ojulari, there we go. Had his best game of the season. He had a half sack as well, 3 quarterback hits and a tackle for loss. Their secondary is playing well. Deontay Banks, he led the team with 12 tackles, adding in a tackle for loss and a huge pass breakup in the end zone late in the game. Safety Jason Pinnock came away with an interception and also recorded 2 pass breakups. So their defense is definitely a big force behind this, I guess you could call it, winning streak that they're on. And then, of course, Saquon Barkley's the do everything person on their team. He became the 5th Giant in franchise history to eclipse 5,000 rushing yards. With 86 yards and 2 touchdown performances against the Packers, he's now at 5,032 career rushing yards, joining Brandon Jacobs, Joe Morris, Rodney Hampton, and Tiki Barber as the other Giants to reach that feat. Barkley has 783 rushing yards for the season with 4 games left. If he can reach 1,000 yards, it'll be his 4th season with 1,000 yards on the ground. So Saquon is proven, I've always been here for the Giants. Will the Giants take him up on the production that he's shown them over the past couple of years and sign him to a contract, one that they both can agree on? Or will they franchise tag him again? That's going to be the story for the season next year. You can definitely say they're not tanking. They're taking these games seriously. It seems like maybe Daboll was able to right the ship a little bit, but it's still a long 4 games to the end of the season. As we've seen in the NFC period, so many things can change over the course of a week. But they have another chance. They play another NFC team next week. They will play against the Saints. who has always had a great defense, and are definitely going to come after Tommy DeVito. So that's going to be an interesting game for them. Before I get to the other game, just so you know, the Washington Commanders were on a bye this week. So they did not play. They will play this upcoming week against the Rams at 4:00. So the Rams are also coming off of a very tough game against the Baltimore Ravens. If it wasn't for a punt return in overtime, they would have had a win possibly, or we may have had our first tie of the year. But the Washington Commanders will play against the Los Angeles Rams next week. And of course, the reason we're all here, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys played against each other for the second time this year. And the Dallas Cowboys were victorious. They defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 33-13. On the Philadelphia side, Jalen Hurts was 18 of 27, 197 yards, 5 carries for 30 yards and 1 sack. DeAndre Swift had 11 carries for 39 yards, and A.J. Brown had 9 receptions for 94 yards. On the other side, Dak Prescott was 24 of 39, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 carries for 11 yards. He was sacked 3 times. Tony Pollard has 16 carries for 59 yards and 7 receptions for 37 yards. Rico Dowdle had 12 carries for 46 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 reception for 6 yards. Jake Ferguson, who's definitely been coming on as of late, as replacing all the great tight ends before him, 5 receptions for 72 yards. CeeDee Lamb had 6 receptions for 71 yards and 1 touchdown, and Michael Gallup had 3 receptions for 48 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, I have to say it. We got our ass kicked. The Dallas Cowboys were the better team. They are the better team. It is what it is at this point. There's no sugarcoating it. It just is. The Philadelphia Eagles played horrible, but the Dallas Cowboys made them play horrible. I never like to say that, we played bad, that's why the other team won. Yeah, they played bad, but they played bad because the other team made them play bad. Dallas is definitely putting to rest a lot of the concerns that a lot of people have had over the past couple of years. You can't win in big games, whatever you want to say. People will still say these are still regular season games. I want to see it in the playoffs, which I'm sure a lot of their fans and other people would definitely love to see. But you can't take away from what they're doing, how great Dak is playing, especially in a contract year. I always say that contract year turn people around because you got to re-up the money. So he definitely came to play this year, and he is not playing. I think he only has 2 interceptions on the season. After all of the talk of the interceptions of last year, he's been playing lights out. Their defense is playing lights out. Their kicker is playing lights out, which is crazy. A rookie, Brandon Aubrey, he made 30 straight field goal attempts to tie the team's record set by Dan Bailey. In this game, he hit field goals from 60 yards and 59 yards to become the first kicker in NFL history with 2 kicks in the same game from at least 59 yards. And this is a former soccer player, guys. I mean, I think they said he played soccer at Notre Dame. He didn't really get into football until after, Now, granted, soccer, kicking, same thing, but still, you got to have nerves of steel to be able to go out there with people rushing at you, trying to knock your head off, and concentrate on kicking a 59, 60-yard field goal and making them with ease, especially after the kicking woes that they had last year with Anger, I think it was. Can't remember who it was. Or McMahon, excuse me. Last year, this is definitely an upgrade, and I see him keeping it going. He'll be back in Dallas next year, barring any injuries. Hopefully that does not happen to him because he's definitely going to have a good career. It was probably unfortunate for them that defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins was lost to what was called a right ankle injury in the 3rd quarter. Definitely going to be a big blow if he's not able to get back out there. I haven't heard if it's been a high ankle sprain or, a regular ankle sprain. Those high ones take a little bit longer for, players to get back, especially with the 300-pounder. It's a lot of weight on the ankle. So hoping that he has, a speedy recovery for their sake. They're definitely going to need Mozzie Smith to kind of step up and, be the player that they drafted him to be. He's been kind of, I will say, not needed. We always expect rookies to just, high draft pick rookies to just jump in and be great. It doesn't always work that way. he's definitely going to have to, work his way through. I mean, I kind of equated to Emmanuel Forbes for the Washington Commanders. They thought he was going to jump in. He was a high draft pick, and he struggled all season as well. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you can't give up on those players early on in their career. So you definitely got to give him some time to get, assessed to what he's going to have to possibly do if defensive tackle Jonathan Hanks is going to be out for a while. I mean, the Cowboys are playing lights out. I guess they beat a good team. I don't know if we're a good team anymore, but they beat a good team, a team with a winning record. And that's what, a lot of the knock has been on them this season. It doesn't get any easier. They do still have some formidable opponents as the season continues. They're going to be playing against the Bills, who after losing to the Philadelphia Eagles and having a bye week, they had a good game this past Sunday and defeated the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if we'll talk about that later because Patrick Mahomes is a little bit wild. He's a little bit wild boy last on Sunday. I don't know. He must not have had his glasses on Sunday. I don't know, but yeah, but that's definitely going to be the game of Sunday, in my opinion. Dallas and Buffalo, in that 4:25 slot. So if they're able to go out there and beat up on Josh and them, that's definitely going to be a good look for them and increase their chances, and definitely increases Dak's chances of being MVP. He's having a stellar year. They have a good record, so he definitely has a good chance of winning that. Oh, on the other side, Jesus Christ, Philadelphia Eagles suck. I mean, it is bad. And what's frustrating about it as a fan and as somebody who tries to be unbiased when it comes to them is that, granted, the teams that they're playing against are really good, but they're good too. And a lot of these things just look like a lot of mental lapses. I mean, I've never seen a team's top three weapons fumble in the same game in plus territory. I just don't understand it. Jalen Hurts had a fumble in the red zone. A.J. Brown had a fumble in the red zone. And Devontae Smith had a fumble in the red zone. To play a game and not score an offensive touchdown is just wild. Shout out to the defense for trying to do what they can. I mean, for goodness sake, they held CeeDee Lamb to 6 catches and 71 yards as he's been going bananas these last couple of weeks. Now, granted, it hasn't been great on the defensive side either. They've definitely had their struggles. But the offense has got to get it together. DeAndre Swift has disappeared at sometimes no fault of his own because it seems like nobody wants to run the ball. I feel like we have this issue every other year where it's like somebody just doesn't believe enough in the run game and they want to put it all in the quarterback's hands. When granted, he's a capable quarterback at it, but we have a good running back in DeAndre Swift. I'm still baffled at it. I don't know what's going on with Rashad Penny. He's been a scratch pretty much all year, and they've been working with Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott back there. So not sure what that is. There hasn't been any reports, or I haven't seen anything. But yeah, the offense is definitely hurting us. The defense is doing everything they can. They got the sack on Dak, and Jalen Carter returned a 42-yard touchdown on that to try to keep him in the game. But the offense just could not get going at all. And as much as the media and the world has downed the Philadelphia Eagles for getting away with what they call no calls against the other team as far as penalties and things of that sort, it all came back this week. The defense hurt itself with a bunch of penalties as well. The Eagles were whistled for 10 penalties for 95 lost yards. It was just way too many in order for them to think that they're going to possibly win in hostile territory in a stadium where I think Dallas has won like 10 straight home games. It's probably more than that. I think I heard 14. So somewhere between 10 and 14 straight home games. And it just was what it was. The good thing for the Philadelphia Eagles in this is They get a little bit of a longer break than they've had recently, although they do have to travel cross country to a different time zone. And you know how that is to go all the way to Seattle next week. They'll play Monday night. And as bad as these last 2 weeks have been, they can still win out and still win the NFC East. They have 4 games left. They'll play 2 against the Giants, which is making me a little nervous just because the Giants have seemed to kind of got something together a little bit, and you know how those division games can be. And you know the Giants won't get back from last year. I mean, they beat them 3 times last year and handily. So I'm hoping that they don't overlook those games. We know what the Arizona Cardinals did earlier in the year. Granted, you know, they had Josh Dobbs. Now they have Kyler Murray back. So it's definitely, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot easier than the stretch that we just got out of. To go, 3-2 in that 5-game stretch was definitely a blessing. You know, definitely wish we could have won more games, but they definitely got to get back to the basics. Somebody got to yell at somebody. Somebody might need to fight in the locker room. I don't know, like somebody need to put hands on each other so somebody can get it together, because it just seems like everybody's just out of sorts. But good thing, like I said, they went out. They still win the NFC East. They still have an opportunity to win the 1 seed, even though I don't think they deserve it at this point, but that's neither here nor there. They just have to get it together all around. It's not just one aspect of the team that's failing. It's not just the defense. It's not just the offense. I mean, I guess the special teams was the only one that did anything good in this game. Jake Elliott was able to get a field goal. And they did the kicker. I mean, the punter was able to, do the trick play and throw for a first down instead of kicking a field goal. I mean, instead of punting the ball away. But yeah, it's been abysmal lately. Although after our conversation last week, Wilson, I don't feel as bad, because I know, like you said, this wasn't the year for us to even be here in an aspect of coming off of, last year, losing as many pieces that we did. Not that that's an excuse, but to be 10-3 is better than what I feel like we could have imagined. And hopefully we're able to get some things together in the off season. I'm not giving up on the season completely, but it's tough when you lose against the 2 other top teams in the NFC and think you're going to get out of the NFC to get to a Super Bowl again, unless something dramatically changes, because the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys are the 2 top teams in the NFC. That's just what it is. Until the Philadelphia Eagles decide to pull their head out their butts.
All right, moving on from the NFC East, we're going to roll in the rapid fire just a little bit. I guess we'll just go ahead and start here. I'm not going to waste any time. Just get it up there on the screen. This is rapid fire, by the way. Just a little reminder. That said, Ray touched on it a little bit earlier about, possible relocation or whatever. Twitter just had some updates with DC apparently submitting a Hail Mary offer or whatnot just a little bit ago. So I guess I'll start with that, right? So give me a second. Let me scroll down and find that. The Hail Mary, that is, that proposal. 20-something minutes ago from Michael Bryce Sadler, Mayor Bowser's office announces legislation with the backing of full DC Council to support a complete renovation and modernization of the Capital One Arena. Includes $500 million for renovations over a 3-year period and a ground lease extension until the end of 2052. If you're wondering why all of that just happened within the last 30 minutes, there's been multiple reports earlier today that started, locally with Channel 7, the Washington Times, Washington Business Journal. Then, once Woj comes out and tweets about anything that's going on in your area, that's like the official death sentence of confirmation that if it crossed his lap and he felt the need to tweet on it, whatever the deal may be, it's damn near done. So Woj has like 4 tweets on it. And the news is Monumental Sports and Washington Wizards owner Ted Leonsis plans to join Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin in Alexandria, Virginia, for a news conference on Wednesday. Again, we're recording on Tuesday. To unveil plans for a proposed new arena complex and entertainment district for Wizards and the NHL Capitals. Thoughts on this? Under these proposals and whatnot, the Mystics would remain in DC. The Wizards and Capitals would be moving to Northern VA. And again, over about Potomac Yards, we'll have more news on this. Clearly, when some of you guys see this tomorrow or Wednesday when you guys are watching this, there will be more news, as I'm sure there might be more news before we're done recording this. Ray, what do you think about this? Then we get down to it. It's not a simple way to get to it. So
yeah, I mean this will be a huge blow, man. I think like that's like the perfect spot for an arena. Like you're smack dab in the middle of the city. It's accessible. I don't understand what the thought process is behind the move. Then moving to that area, like traffic's going to be horrible, even worse than it is in downtown DC. And then you're not going to have the easy access due to the metro. So, I don't know what they think. They think it's not going to take a hit to attendance. It might, because if I wasn't covering them, I wouldn't make that drive. Especially when they're 3-19. So, and then not only that, some of us are old enough to remember what that area looked like before MCI Center got there, which was, the original name of the building. It wasn't pretty. I'll just leave it at that. And with the climate that DC is in right now, removing that, I just don't see any positives at this point. I know people like new shiny things, but I would much rather prefer what's being proposed. Just put money into the existing structure, and just kind of revitalizing that, and also put more things in that area, because businesses in Gallery Place are struggling as is, and if you take away the the traffic they'll get from the Caps and the Wizards, that's just not going to look good. So yeah, man, it sucks for the fans, but hey, man, I'm not the person making those decisions, and it's probably been evident for a long time that the person making those decisions does not have the fans in mind. So it's not surprising. It is disappointing, but it's nothing set in stone yet. Hopefully this Hail Mary effort from the city is able to get them to stay put.
Xavier.
Yeah, so the very first thing that popped in my head was just like Ray said, the traffic is going to be terrible. And selfishly, I live close to the area. I don't need the extra traffic. That's just not going to be fun. There's already so many things saturated in that area, in Alexandria, Northern Virginia, right at the bridge area. I mean, you got the outlets, you got the MGM, you got the harbor. It's just going to be adding so much. I even think about it. I crossed the bridge on Saturday, and just to see the traffic to go to the harbor for like Christmas things, it's crazy. So imagine that mixed in with whoever's going to Wizard games, because I feel like right now we worried about the wrong thing. we worried about where they're gonna play. We should be worried about how they look and who's gonna come see them play. That's what they should be worried about. But I understand money's always the motive when it comes to situations like that. I think what I just read was that they were asking for the DC to give them $600 million, and I guess whatever DC was willing to do wasn't enough for him. But But yeah, I can't imagine the, and I don't want to say the little bit of fans because I don't really know, but the group of fans that they do have that are loyal to go to Capital One to those games, really seeing the benefit of them driving to Potomac Yards. I do think there's a metro near it, but I'm not 100% sure.
There's a metro over there,
but like when I think of, honestly, I haven't been in the area in a while, but when I think of Potomac Yards, I think of like the Potomac Yards Shopping Center. And so I don't know exactly where they would be proposing that this stadium goes. But yeah, I think they're worried about the wrong things. I mean, I do know that they probably want an updated arena, but nobody is coming to the arena just because it's updated. They're coming because they want to see the team play. Like, I think I saw a commercial. They have like this Hennessy Lounge thing now at Capital One, and I was like, what? I guess they're like, well, people at least come to see this and possibly see something else. But I just think it's crazy. It's just so it's just a big change for people who have lived in this area for their entire life. I mean, you might as well call them the Virginia Wizards now, or the Alexandria Wizards. Like, it's not Washington. I mean, we already have the Washington, I almost said Redskins, Commanders, who don't play in Washington. And granted, I know that that's the thing around the league. There are certain teams that don't play right in the heart of wherever their teammate is. But that's something that's always been a part of, the Washington fan base, as a Wizard, Mystics, Capitals. I mean, for goodness sake, they created the Nats and put the Nats in DC. DC United is in DC, so it'll just be a weird thing to see. But again, I think they said this is just pushing it forward. It still would have to be reviewed and approved by Alexandria, like City Board and all of those things. I've already read some things that Alexandria residents aren't too happy about that. They don't want the riffraff coming into Old Town. I can tell you that. It'll, especially with also, like you said, the surge of violence that's happening in DC. To take something else out is only going to give them less things to do and more time to do things that they shouldn't be doing. I just hope they all take a long look at it and not just the money aspect of it. I know that that's a portion of it, and I'm pretty sure that's a high portion of it. But I hope they take into consideration what it will do to that area. Because like you said, a lot of people don't go to Gallery Place just to go to Gallery Place anymore. A lot of people go because it's a game. I'll go a little early. Maybe I'm not coming to see the Wizards. Maybe the Lakers are coming to town and I want to see LeBron. Maybe Boston's coming. I want to see Justin. Maybe Denver's coming. I want to see Jokic. And that aspect, but you take that out, I don't know what that area is going to look like.
No, I'm with y'all. It's definitely a loss, but I just found that just scrolling Twitter while you guys were talking about this just a bit. Just again, this is not a end all be all of anything, but just offering some more information. But whatever the disconnect is between the city and Monumental Sports, they need to tighten that up. But that's crazy that, again, this is what makes all of this so weird is how do you own the building on a piece of land but not the land?
Sounds like a bad business move, bro.
Right. Like, this is just weird as a whole, right? So you pay 36 mil off top just because, and then the mortgage payment. So you telling me two people couldn't sit down, talk about how to make this 36 million annually come up in a different way? We could knock it down to like 15, find a different way, because everyone loses here. It's just the degree of losing depending on who you're talking about. Like Ray said, what that's going to do to that part of DC is crazy, especially from a job. Got to think about it. Any event that happens at the arena, those are a bunch of jobs just gone. Like, gone, right? And some of those same companies staff similar venues or what have you. If you keep moving stuff out, what are you doing? Like, we all know that's part of the things that go with professional sports is wherever those arenas are, the buildings are, even bad teams, what have you, it generates money for the area, not only just the team and the owner of the team and whatnot. It's gonna be a huge hit. Like, not another way to say it's gonna be a huge freaking hit, and we'll see what happens. Again, that Hail Mary was shared, publicly about 30 minutes ago, and
Bowser better get it together.
we'll see what happens. By the time we wake up, we'll have more news. See what happens. But that's the other part about it that might be a little bit of DC saving grace. Folks in Alexandria fight everything. Like, they just don't want people in Alexandria. Like, and I'm not trying to be funny or say anything mean. Just honest to goodness. Do y'all know how long they pushed off that Silver Line crap? Like, they pushed that off forever. They're like, okay, yeah, you can have it. Ain't gonna be no stops here.
But you know what else I just thought about too? Like, we're talking about the sports teams, but think about how many other things are used at Capital One. Like, I realized I just bought concert tickets today. I can't imagine going to Alexandria for like a major concert. Like, you think Drake is gonna put Alexandria on his tour list?
And as someone who driven Potomac yards for various things, like, bro, that traffic already is trash. Please don't. Please don't. It is already horrible driving over there. I can only imagine, like, it's, bro, there's up and there's down. That's it.
And it's like 2 lanes on each side.
That's it. With the little, and then they went and added a little trolley thing in the middle. Like, there's no.
And they got so many lights. You know how many lights are down there too?
It's like 15 lights on a 7-mile stretch of road. Like,
and they're already not good at directing traffic as it is in this area, like in the police departments. I went to the Beyonce concert in Maryland. I was like, do the cops know how to do this? Because this is terrible. I was like, shouldn't you be like, all right, y'all go, stop? They were just sitting there letting the light do what it do. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
See, that's the thing where I'm not worried about that part of it in Virginia. They'll take care of that part. But again, there's stuff that comes with that part being taken care of. Right, they're going to slow all that stuff down to a crawl. We will see what happens. We will keep an eye on it. This should be a fun one. Here y'all go. Y'all should enjoy this one right here. All right. Los Angeles Lakers won the inaugural NBA. Octavia, keep it together. In-season tournament, they plan to hang a banner. That news caused quite a ruckus on social media. So I must ask, thoughts on a banner being hung for the in-season tournament winners for franchises that famously only hangs championship banners and nothing else? Octavia, you first and then Ray.
Boo. Tomato. This is terrible. I get it. I do think that the in-season tournament was a success for what they wanted it to be, but stop it. Stop it with the banners. Stop it with trying to say that whoever wins the in-season tournament could possibly get an automatic playoff bid. Stop it. What? I think we're going a little bit too far with this. A little bit too far. For example, the WNBA has had in-season tournaments forever at this point. I don't see no banner hung up in Las Vegas with it. They definitely hung a WNBA championship banner though. Stop it. It's I don't know if it's just because it's LeBron and we know how they are and they just like, well, LeBron won the first one ever, so we got to do something amazing. No, they won. Congratulations. They got their hardware. They got their medals, their trophy. Congratulations. I think they beat like 3 sub 500 teams on the way there. Hey. Okay. I mean, I think Anthony Davis played great, but he never plays great against the people who are as good as him or maybe better than him. But okay. Yeah. I mean, I think they've already decided that they're going to hang this banner. And whenever they decide to do that, I will not be watching. Just know that, because that's just kind of asinine. It's literally what we always say, like a participation trophy. Now, I'm not saying this is a participation trophy because, they won in the tournament or whatever. But come on. We hang banners for world championships. They're about to have Noah Lyles out here talking about the NBA ain't the best place in the world. We can't be world champions no more. Like, I don't like it at all.
Right.
We have to stop. Like, seriously, man. Like, this is ridiculous. The whole notion of the in-season tournament is ridiculous. I mean, they did it. It's cool. It is what it is. All right, that's fine. But treating this like it's something is not, like, this is foolishness. I remember when the in-season tournament was 82 games long because people actually gave a damn about the regular season and competed every game. Like, you have to give dudes $500,000 and create a whole lot of hoopla for them to simply compete. Like, where are we? Like, where are we as a society when this is acceptable? And then to hang a banner? Like, are we serious? Like, okay, they won the Maui Invitational. Cool. Like, come on, man. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Whatever, man. Like,
why you had to take a shot at the Maui Invitational?
I love the Maui Invitational. Like, one of my favorite college games ever took place at the Maui Invitational. But it don't mean shit.
Put that band in their practice room.
Hey, do something else, man. Get a t-shirt and a hat, just like the people that win the Maui Invitational get, and then go back home and continue with your season. But to try to recognize this as some type of accomplishment, please be serious. And then talking about possibly guaranteeing a playoff spot for something that happened in December. So what about the rest of the season? Like, what are we doing here? What exactly are we doing here? But congratulations, I guess, to the Lakers. But yeah, this is foolishness. So,
and then the game count for their regular season record.
So what are we even doing?
The championship game doesn't count for the regular season. Like, none of the stats, the points, none of that count. Now, the games that they played up until it counts, but the championship game don't even count. But we giving out banners for it. Okay.
They just gave this like the ultimate participation trophy for doing your job. Right. It's why.
And they look so happy in this picture. I hadn't seen this picture.
The only good thing that's going to come for this in the long run is the memes from the people who win the in-season tournament and get bounced in the postseason.
And don't make the playoffs.
Because, or that, because whoever it might be.
Don't make the other thing that they made easier for them, the play-in tournament, and they don't make the play-in tournament.
Right. All we seeing them keep making stuff easy. They allow more teams into the playoffs. They gave you the in-season tournament to incentivize you to care about your actual job, in which they're paying you boatloads of money for. Shout out to the people, the players on the fringe part of the roster where $500K is huge for them. That's it.
Absolutely. That's like some of those guys, that's half their yearly wage.
Like they doubled or tripled it. Shout out to them.
Right.
That's why
outside of them. If y'all don't just sit down and worry about where you rank in the West and keep moving, this is horrible. Because if we look up at 3-4 months and this doesn't matter, and you looking up at a bunch of teams, no one's going to remember this. This doesn't take any of that away. All right, we're going to end.
They should like, if they're going to keep doing this, I like mix it up. Like, it shouldn't be all West teams against West teams and East teams against East teams. They like mix it all up if y'all want to be all serious. I ain't playing nobody to get there. And then they beat Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers. Because it's Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers.
It's not Otis and them.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna see you, Otis.
All right, we're gonna end on this one. It's been a long, tough year for Kansas City Chiefs. Well, not really, because they're like still in the playoff picture, but Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going through it. They have had enough with this particular group of pass catchers, not named Rashee Rice. He might be the exemption. Like I think that they see a future in you, young man. The rest of them, I think they're sick of each and every person not named Travis Kelce. Well, they're sick of every wide receiver not named Rashee Rice. It's bad. And I think all that anger they had for the refs, because they didn't want to already get mad at folks they've been mad at for 15 weeks. That said, this is the play they're upset about. I would love if y'all could see my little cursor. I don't even need my cursor to show you. One team's in white, one team's in red. What stands out to you weird on this picture? Where's Waldo this for me, right? Yeah.
I mean, dude is obviously offside.
And the memes were immaculate. Let's start with that. Immaculate. They said Kadarius Toney was so far past the ball that the Buffalo Bills could have been flagged for 12 men on the field.
Yeah, social media did its thing with this one.
And they like Mahomes and Karen. Let me speak to your manager.
So my thing is, like, what happened in the previous 59 minutes that you even got to this point? That's my first thing. The second thing is, why are people making such a big deal about he should have gotten a warning? No, he shouldn't have. Like, what are you talking about? How every game receivers check in with the ref to make sure they're good. It's a known practice. What's the big deal? And then Mahomes, God bless him, but all that the refs shouldn't decide a game. I think he was asking the refs to decide a game earlier this season.
And last year as well.
So
Super Bowl.
Come on, dog. Like you said, Wilson, it's frustration boiling over. But you're looking real weak right now, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, man. Like I don't know why people thought, and another thing for the excuse makers, people thought losing Tyreek Hill and Bieniemy wasn't going to make a difference. It makes a difference, man. And now that things aren't going how you thought they was going to go, and instead of just saying, "Oh, damn, we were wrong," it makes a difference. You just got to try to make excuses to make it look like what you said was correct. Nah, man, just live in it. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the Chiefs, they still in the playoff picture. You know, the Broncos are on their heels. But yeah, this is much ado about nothing, man. You lined up off sides. You got called for it. It is what it is. Just focus on next week. All this crying and throwing your helmet and having a temper tantrum, it's irrelevant. It's not going to change anything. And then he's talking to Josh Allen after the game. What did he say to him? It's the worst call I ever seen. Like,
Josh don't care. Josh don't care at all.
I just want to take your hand, bro.
You're bringing that conversation to the wrong person, brother.
None of that. Yeah, I mean, again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Like, and I think they even tried to clean it up. It was like, well, he lined up like this multiple times in a game and was never called for it. Okay, that doesn't make it any better. Like, that just means he got away with it multiple times. And this time he didn't. And to add insult to injury, to be the reason why y'all got a penalty after an amazing pass from Travis Kelce, said Kadarius Toney to score, all for it to come back because your ass wasn't on side. Lord Jesus. And to even add more insult to injury, they brought him back. Was it him or maybe it was MVS? I can't remember who it was. But yeah, their wide receivers aren't doing anything great for them this year. But yeah, the misplaced anger was just ridiculous. And then I think I didn't read it, but I saw like an alert that said like the NFL was going to look into the comments made about, like, for what? There's nothing to look into. They were loud and wrong, and Kadarius Toney was offsides. Like, it's clear as day. And I definitely don't want to hear nothing about Russ can't be making decisions in games. They damn sure did in the Super Bowl. And you were okay with it. So stop it. But yeah, it's just a lot of frustration, as expected to be when you're a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, where they've had consecutive good seasons. Some would say great seasons, but this season has definitely been some turmoil for them. But 2, 4, 5, they've lost 5 games this year. And don't mess around and lose to the Patriots this week. Ooh, baby. Kadarius Toney better be practicing right now.
Okay, so I tell you, remember that conversation we had last week about the coaches and people losing coordinators and all that stuff, and how it looks like, no disrespect to Brian Johnson, whatever, but no disrespect to Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, but it looks like it's interesting because some people try to say this about my coach, but I'm gonna be an adult, leave us alone. It looked like Shane Steichen took all the creativity in his offense to Indiana and left them folks with the scraps, and nobody wants to talk about it. Because Indiana's offense is still working. They had young boy in it. They got Gardner Minshew in it. It's still functioning. Y'all got to hold Jalen Hurts, and somebody broke something somewhere. Eric Bieniemy. Remember the guy everybody said, Ray, thank you so much for touching on that. The guy everybody said it didn't matter at all. Wasn't a big deal, yada, yada, yada. They're broken. They offenses don't work without them. How about that? Just like that. They're broken. Because you want to know when this would have never happened? Under Bieniemy, because he's a psycho and details like that, Kadarius Toney would have been benched if he was there. Or he would have fixed Kadarius Toney because he wouldn't have been on Eric Bieniemy's field looking like that. No, sir, Bob. How many wide receivers you seen off sides in Kansas City during their little run? You seen the defensive dudes doing whatever. And Steve Spagnuolo don't care. He gets dudes that play on the edge. It is what it is. That's fine. Usually just see offensive linemen, not wide receivers. This year, this group is just a group that can't get right because they're not on the details. They're missing somebody. So the guy y'all said didn't call plays, wasn't important, yada, yada, yada. Two Super Bowls with him. This is the first year without him. And have y'all seen how disjointed and broken this offense looks? The sequencing, stuff don't even go together. Clearly, people don't know exactly what they're supposed to. People looking over the wrong shoulder for the ball in the NFL. What are we doing here? And then, for Andy and Patrick, we know who you mad at. It's okay. Y'all got some draft picks. You got some cap room. We know what 70% of your offseason is going to be focused on. There will be new people over there. I wouldn't be shocked, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, they're probably going to have a whole DK Metcalf next year.
Wait, that's not fair.
Just throwing it out there. Y'all can dismiss me right now. Pete's sick of that man. Seattle's sick of that man. He took the color out of his hair. He trying to do right so he can get shipped out. He think he's slick. I'm on it, DK. I see you. I see you. That man has had color in his hair since he's been drafted. He looks real regular right now. He is trying to get out of there.
He is so angry.
He is very angry. Russ left and he was like, I don't like it here. Get me out of here. And he's prepared to do anything. So in a couple months after the season, when there's news about DK getting traded over there, just remember we talked about it here first. But Ray, I think that's a great point. They are in shambles without Psycho Detail Man, who the Commander players can't stand, which is, again, explains a lot, but we're not here to be rude. Psycho Detail Man, never would this happen. Kadarius probably wouldn't have been back on the field after wasn't he tripping in week 1? We wouldn't have seen Kadarius for a while. Just because he's just not on his stuff. But it was misplaced anger, and I get it. I guess you rather let off on the refs instead of let off on somebody who already feels bad. So part of me's kind of like, I respect it, but the rest didn't do anything to you. Y'all know what that man did. Also, Kadarius, bro, you can't cover up the ball. You just had to back up a little bit. They would have let you get away with it. Like, you went to the part where they have to call it. You covered up the ball. If you slid back 6 inches, they'd have been like, we can see the ball. It's cool. Bro, not only did you cover up the ball, you're ahead of the ball. It's a neutral zone. It's like an inverted neutral zone infraction. Bro, your foot is lined up with Von Miller's, I think.
Like, how do you not feel out of place right there? Like, come on, dog.
So you telling me you looked down the line and was like, I'm good?
I was like, he's literally looking down. I'm like, you probably can't even see him. He probably can see him because he's that far up. If you can see him, that's a problem. You see him entirely too clear.
If it looks like Creed Humphrey is behind you, you're doing something wrong. And I know it looked like Creed Humphrey was behind you, but we're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Get over to thefocustv.com. Don't forget, every Wednesday morning, about as early about 9:30, the weekly episode of The Focus will be up. If you have a Roku television device, all you got to do is add the channel. Type in The Focus TV in the search box, double tap OK. And we'll see y'all next week. Have a great one.